What is going on, young men? Listen, on today's video, I want to talk to you guys about a subject that I see often in my comments section, young men asking advice or help for, and that's pornography addiction, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. Listen, I am the over 50 guy slash the online dad. On my channel, I give young men practical advice and tips to help them avoid a lot of the pitfalls and crazy that I went through at your age, so that when you get to my age, you can have options and resources to live the type of life that you really want to live. That's what we do here. So let's get into it. Yeah, guys, I see often, actually on my last live, a young man had asked about it, and I see it often in my comments on my videos, how, young men seem to be struggling with pornography. And for the sake of the discussion today, men, let's do this because I think addiction is a very, very strong word. And in my 20s, I used to have that very confused. It took a gentleman that I worked with, me and him being out on a road at 3 o'clock in the morning, for me to really understand what addiction was. So let me give you some context. I work with this guy, and I won't use his name, but he's a really good guy. I worked with him for a number of years, and he was on heroin. And it was bad. I mean, we would leave out in the morning. He would be my partner. He'd be like, "Hey, Big Will, stop right here real quick. We'll stop at a house." He'll run in, come back out maybe 10, 15 minutes later, and you could tell something had happened in there. He had smoked something, shot something. He had done something, because he would be wrecked the whole of the day. And he had been drug tested, fired on a couple of occasions. He sued the company, got his job back. But, he clearly had a substance issue. And it took us one night working together, late at night, like 2 or 3 in the morning, we're working. And he was telling me how they were after him again. And I was like, you know what, man, why don't you just take the money and go? I mean, you know how it's going to go. They going to do their thing. They're going to come at you. You're going to get money. Just quit playing the game with them. Take your money and go. And what my man told me was, well, man, if they give me 100,000, I'm going to put 60 of it in my arm. Doing the drugs, running the drugs. And I said to him, and this is what changed my whole mindset when it came to addiction. What he said to me was, no, what I said to him when he told me that I'm going to put 60 of it in my arm. And you got this man at this time was probably my age now. He was probably in his early 50s. And I told him, like, man, ain't you tired of getting high? And what he said next changed my entire mindset when it came to addiction, because up until this point, I thought people that were addicted to drugs were doing it because they like to get high. Listen to my man's response. What he said to me was, get high. He laughed at me. He was like, get high. He said, man, I ain't been high in years. I don't do this to get high. I do this to function. I do this to get up in the morning and take a piss. I do this to come to work. I do this to be able to sit in a chair straight. I've done this for so long. My body is addicted to this. Like, if I don't take this, I literally can't function. I get sick. I shake. I throw up. So get high. He was like, man, you have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't been high in years. So I tell you guys that story because when I hear young men talk about porn addiction, unless when you can't pull Pornhub up on your phone, that you start shaking and throwing up, and you get violent reactions when you can't pull open your laptop and pull up a porn site and watch sex. If you're not having those types of reactions, where if you don't do it for a few days, you've seen the movies, when the guys are going through withdrawals and that, and again, they are throwing up violently. They are sick. They are, clamoring at the door. Let me out so I can get to my drugs that my body is literally addicted to and needs to function. If you are not having that type of reaction when you can't get to Pornhub, I'm sorry to tell you, you don't have an addiction. You don't have an addiction. Let me tell you, in my opinion, what I think is going on with guys that have an addiction to porn. First of all, I've watched porn. I think I've watched my fair share of it when I was younger. And for us guys, I think guys of my generation, because I don't really recall hearing men my age talk about a porn addiction. I don't necessarily remember that. What I remember for me is the ideal of, if you're going to meet a girl and you guys, it's a pretty sure bet that you're going to have sex, you would watch the porn to try to, get your man up, get your stuff ready. I can remember once I got a little older, it was in anticipation for seeing the chick later. You may even watch it, rub one out so you can last longer when you actually get to the chick that you're planning on sleeping with. The common denominator in all of those with men in my day is that we used porn kind of as a supplement to get, in addition to the woman. The common denominator is that the woman was always involved in that process. And I think what is going on for a lot of young men today is, and what drives them to watch so much of this stuff is, I believe that the woman has been completely replaced, right? That, a lot of men, because of social media and because of the computer and the games and all of that stuff, a lot of young men particularly have gotten away from social interaction with women. So now porn has become the replacement. You don't have to necessarily interact with a woman, right, in order to be sexually gratified, right? You can pick the woman of your choosing, whether you like short women, fat women, skinny women, black women, white women. You can pull that up on this Pornhub or porn site. You can see everything you would want to do with her. Somebody else is doing with her. You can imagine yourself doing that with her. You can masturbate, rub one out, whatever you want to call it. And essentially you've had the same experience that you would have had if you were actually with this woman. And because, again, social interaction has changed from my day when we had to go up, if we wanted sex with a woman, we had to risk rejection. We had to risk being laughed at and this, that, and the other to go talk to this woman to eventually get to the point where we can sleep with her. Well, now you don't have to do that. And I think, guys, that a lot of men are going to porn. A lot of young men are going to the whole porn thing because now you really don't have to do the whole social interaction with women that actually leads to that. So porn has kind of become the replacement. That's the way that I see it. That porn has become the replacement. Why go out? I don't have to go out to the clubs, or I don't have to go out and date. I don't have to do any of this stuff. I can sit in the privacy of my own home. I don't have to risk rejection. I can pull up whatever type of woman or type in whatever type of woman I believe that I want or that I can fantasize about. I can watch her do all the things that I would want to do with her, rub one out and go to bed. So addiction, guys, no, I don't really see it as that. I see it as how it has become now, almost like it's so prevalent between OnlyFans and Pornhub and all the other stuff that I probably don't even know about at my age. This has just become easier to do. It has become a substitution for going out and interacting with females for real, risking the rejection, risking being told no, and everything that comes with dealing with women. So that's one piece of it, guys, that I think is what's going on. Again, I don't think that's addiction. I think that young men in particular have just learned to substitute porn for actual interaction with women. That's one thing. The other thing, guys, is that, again, it's distraction, right? It's distraction. That my thing is, if you believe you have a porn addiction, you're watching, how much porn do you watch? If you think you have an addiction, listen, if you're sitting up and from the time you wake up in the morning until the time you go to bed, you are watching porn. If you are like constantly thinking about the next site you're going to go to or the next, if you're doing that, guys, clearly you have a whole lot of time. If you are constantly in your phone watching porn, you got a whole lot of time, right? If you are constantly on your website, if you don't leave your bed or your couch because you are constantly watching porn, you got a shit ton of time. You're using that time to watch porn. Porn has now become a distraction for you, right? It is distracting you from using that time in other productive ways. Why can't you, instead of watching porn all day, start spending more time in the gym? Why can't you, if you're watching porn all day, replace the porn with learning about a thing that you're passionate about besides watching sex on camera, right? Why can't you go find another job to replace the time that you have? Why can't you start thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to move my finances from where they're at now to where I want them to be? What can I start doing instead of watching porn all day to get moved out of my parents' house, right? What can I do what else can I do instead of watching porn all day to improve my mental health? Maybe watching porn all day is pointing to something that is missing that I need to find out so that I can replace with something more healthy, right? So it becomes a distraction. Porn becomes a distraction from doing other things that you could be doing that is much more productive in your life as far as building yourselves. So I think a lot of that has to do with it too, man. So here's my challenge for those of you who think you have a porn addiction. My challenge to you would be, let's try replacing watching the porn with something else, right? That you get up in the morning, and if you're watching that a couple hours a day, let's replace that with going to the gym for an hour, right? Let's replace the porn watching with going to YouTube and watching videos about your passion. Let's replace the porn watching with seeking better employment, working. If you're working one job now, let's get another one. See, if you're watching that much porn, men, you just have entirely too much time. You have too much time. Listen, I've watched porn. It has its purpose, man, but I'm too busy to watch it all day, every day. I got stuff to do. I don't have time, right? And that's ultimately where I would want you guys. If you're struggling with porn right now, I would submit to you that you're putting too much time into that you can be putting elsewhere, and you are not addicted. You are not addicted to porn. Again, you may like porn. You may like the way it makes you feel. You may like the fantasy. You may like all of that stuff. But until you have the issue that I talked about earlier that my man was having, you're not addicted. You're not addicted. You're just distracted by this thing. And how you break that distraction is you distract yourself with something else that will benefit you more. Listen, porn is not going to put money in your pocket. Watching porn is not going to get you that apartment, that car, that job that is not going to fulfill your passion. Porn is not going to do that for you. All porn is going to do is take time away from you and distract you from the things that you really need to be doing, right? So, for all of those people in the comment sections that had asked about that, hope this kind of adds some value or gives some clarity. I would be interested in what you guys think about that. Maybe I'm missing something. So, drop it in the comments if you have a thought on that. I'd like to hear what you guys think about that. Okay. So listen, as usual, I am the over 50 guy. I'm back to doing my lives 11 o'clock Sunday nights. I am doing one-on-one coaching. I will put my email in the description at the end of the video here. Feel free to reach out to me and I can give you more information about that. Okay. Like and subscribe to the channel for the YouTube algorithm so these videos can get out to other young men. Again, I am the over 50 guy / the online dad. We'll be back with another one soon.